first one is Exhibit 4.
And that's Ponson and Albert Lake.
Correct. And then they are numbered sequentially.
So Lake Ponson, the time frame would be 2.
Correct. No, 5.
5.
Outlet elevation is 6. And then shoreline stabilization design is 7.
Are there any other exhibits that have been stipulated to at this time?
Not for concern.
Okay.
I believe before we start the testimony, we will admit exhibits 4, 5, 6, and 7.
Thank you. And I also provided the CPs as well, which is number 3.
Any objection to exhibit 3?
No objection.
Okay. Just a minute. Exhibit 3 will be received as well.
Good morning, Mr. Evans. Could you please state your full name and employment for the board?
My name is Patrick J. Emmons, and I am employed for this meeting, or for this board, as a private consultant, but I am an assistant professor at South Dakota State University in the Civil and Environmental Engineering Department.
And could you please summarize for the board your educational background?
I have a bachelor's degree with a double major in math and physics from Arizona State University, and I have a master's degree in geology from Northern Arizona University in Flagstaff, Arizona.
Have you done any other scientific research in the South Dakota area?
I was an employee of the U.S. Geological Survey, their Water Resources Division, for 23 years. I began my career in Pueblo, Colorado, where I spent about 7 years. Then I moved on to Madison, South Dakota. Madison, Wisconsin, for several years. And then I had the opportunity to move to Huron, South Dakota, where I spent approximately 11 years. And then I moved to Lawrence, Kansas. So this moving around gives me a very good idea of the hydrology, geology, groundwater, surface water issues in a number of different locations throughout the country. As an employee of the U.S. Geological Survey, I was a project chief for a number of hydrologic studies. Once I moved to South Dakota, I was the South Dakota District's groundwater specialist. I was also the area specialist, which included North Dakota, South Dakota, and Minnesota, their groundwater specialist. I then moved up to a position of the study section chief, where I was in charge of all hydrologic studies conducted by the U.S. Geological Survey in the state of South Dakota during my tenure in Huron. I then moved to Lawrence, Kansas, where I was a senior groundwater scientist with the National Water Quality Assessment Program. And we actually looked at surface water interaction on the lower Platte River from the Missouri River up to about Grand Island, Nebraska. I've also done a number of studies in South Dakota. Latest one was, I had several thesis, or advised several thesis students. I just came out with, my advisee just came out with a new evaporation map for the state of South Dakota. I was also extensively involved with a cooperative study with the U.S. Geological Survey while I was at SDSU in looking at the conditions in the closed basin of the Wabae Lakes chain during their, in the 90s, when they had a significant amount of precipitation up there. There was significant high water. There was flooding. Flooding that has not been seen historically. And so it was an issue about what exactly was the concern, what exactly happened. So I did a lot of work on analyzing what those conditions were, and I worked with a number of federal agencies and our state climatologist in that study.
Have you had any sort of publications for yourself personally that deals with the issues that you're speaking to the board about today?
I have probably have about 25 or 30 different publications, and a lot of the topics that I just mentioned, there are reports that I published. I published 2 modeling studies in the James River Valley, one in the Huron area, and one in the Aberdeen area, and like